they have to get past this. The Bills need to be past this round. And I know they did it in 2020, but it's one thing to say it was Mahomes or it was the year after everything happened with Lamar Hamlin that they lost in that game. They have this at home.
You got to get yourself there because that is how people, unfortunately, you are judged on that.
Josh has been so dynamic, and he has been the best player on the field in postseason losses. So he has risen to the level when the lights have been brightest.
Yes.
Lamar hasn't.
This is the Buffalo Plus Podcast, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
All right, welcome to Buffalo Plus, presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, Dan Fates. I am Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I am hyper. We're talking divisional round.
She's been
this
singing.
Game,
Oh, yeah.
It's been bad. This game, this matchup, this pressure, this team, we're going to get into everything.
Yeah,
so please be sure.
fun.
I thought you were going to start singing.
No, I will not. I will not torture everyone's ears to that. Please be sure to drop in the chat where you're watching this from. Be sure to like the video as well. We have a lot to get to. Bills, Ravens, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Sunday we know is going to be expected to be quite the game. But first off, let's start with big picture, a little bit of zoom out here. Divisional round and the pressure that you see, Mike, going into this game.
So they've both made, Josh and Lamar have both made AFC championship games and lost to Mahomes. We all know that. The difference is Josh has happened in 2020.
That is correct.
This one happened last year. So it takes away. You've seen this thing where the Bills have lost 3 straight years in the divisional round, and they've had the last couple at home and all that. I think that adds to it a little bit. But in reality, yes, there's this. They have to get past this. The Bills need to be past this round. And I know they did it in 2020, but it's one thing to say it was Mahomes or it was the year after everything happened with Lamar Hamlin that they lost in that game. They have this at home. Last year, they lost this game to the Chiefs. You can say what you want about the Chiefs. They just seem to win every one of those games. Yeah. That'll change at some point. It hadn't happened yet. But for the Bills, it is a monumental thing to get themselves back to the next round.
Well, Mike, then to ask you the question, who has more pressure on them quarterback wise? The teams can be different than the quarterbacks. If I'm asking you this question, who has more pressure, Josh or Lamar?
Lamar does. And I think Lamar does because he's got Derrick Henry next to him.
Yep.
He has a team that is loaded with all pros and Pro Bowl players. And now he is on the road for this game, which does make a difference in that case. But I think Josh is looked at somewhat with hyperbole, like he is a one-man team. He does have a great offensive line. Yep. It is a well-structured team. It is a team that is all on the same page. It's not like he's got a lot of nobodies, but he doesn't have stars around him. And I think Josh as a player gets a little bit of a break on it. But Josh
this year.
But Josh is also a superstar player. And I think people, while Lamar has won these awards and the MVPs, I still believe most NFL people believe Josh Allen is a better quarterback as a quarterback himself and thought of as a quarterback. And so the reason I bring that up is they are judged by getting to the Super Bowl. I mean, Dan Marino had to put up ungodly numbers to be a Hall of Famer.
His numbers are stupid.
Yeah. Right. He made it to 1 as a young guy and then never made it back. And the Bills were in the way a lot of those things. So Jim Kelly's wearing the gold because he made it to 4 Super Bowls. It's just the way quarterbacks are judged, and Josh is going to be judged that way.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is 100% that. And I think that's what it comes down to. And the Bills, I do think there is pressure in general, though, on Buffalo in terms of the team, because this has been the hump that we have talked about in the last 3 years. They have been eliminated in this round, 2 of those being at home, Dan. And now you have another matchup at home. You have the crowd behind you. You have all of these things. And for Josh Allen to have, the season that he is having, and for the franchise, what do we always say? Like, the window is open. But also at some point, it's like you gotta get yourself there because that is how people, unfortunately, you are judged on that.
Yeah, but nobody thought this window was open before the season. So it is tough to try and compartmentalize where they were before the season and where they are now. And it's funny because I think, she gave me the finger.
No, I'm just kidding. By the way, it's this. It wasn't the other one.
It was the index.
Yes.
Yeah, it's our cue.
Yeah.
You see out the corner of your eye, you're like, somebody's going to interrupt. What is it?
I agree where we did not think this team would be here, but also you are here and you are at home.
Yeah.
And so I think that now you are being judged and the goalpost has been moved back because you outperformed where we thought you were going to be heading into the season.
It's funny because I see this as the hurdle because they're both a notch below Mahomes, right? Like in the grand scheme of resumes, MVPs, Super Bowls, right? So whoever wins this game will have more pressure on them next week because it's like, cool, you won the divisional round, especially if you're Lamar. You're back to where you were before. Would you fail again? This is a game where they are going to be pressured to see who is that next tier against one another. Like, because not only is it MVP, it's who can help their team win to get to the next level.
It's the level Burrow was in.
Yes.
But you have to be fair. He's dropped down a little bit. I know you could blame a lot of other things. I think Burrow is still a very good quarterback. His team didn't even make the playoffs.
Don't do that.
Nope. You say
Dad?
Nope.
I am saying that
Mike is giving you
Joe
the
Burrow's team did not make the playoffs this year.
That is correct.
So Josh Allen hasn't had that since the first year. Then he made it. He's made it every year. And they got rid of guys on defense. They got rid of wide receivers. They did all that. People said they were going to take a notch down, and they won the division by Halloween. Okay? And it wasn't like this defense was elite this year.
Yeah.
So the reason I say that is I think this player has the opportunity. I know Burrow beat Mahomes in a championship game, which got him that. But they've taken a little notch back.
Yeah.
And they haven't won as much. And Lamar has been great. And he has moved up to this. And we're saying all this about the quarterbacks. Far and away, the most pressure on anybody in this game is Sean McDermott.
Okay, before we get that, just finish the point, because I agree that Lamar has the most pressure. And why I think it is because Lamar has failed
in the playoffs.
Yes. Like, that's not really up for debate. He has been the reason that the Ravens have lost playoff games. Josh really hasn't. And that will get to your point too about McDermott. But Josh, I think we are, as a society, I hope we're realizing that stats, wins and losses are not a solely quarterback stat. And it's kind of dumb sometimes when people say that. Shut up, Bruce. Like, this is where we are. The fact that Josh has been so dynamic and he has been the best player on the field in postseason losses. So he has risen to the level when the lights have been brightest.
Yes.
Lamar hasn't.
Right.
So Lamar needs to win this game to get that chance to get back there to prove it. Yeah. This is one stage. There's another stage after this.
I think of what you said a couple years ago, or maybe it was last year.
I don't know. I say a lot.
You say a lot.
You do. But you have some good moments. You have some good points. And one of them was that the MVP will be a weighted vest on Lamar if you cannot perform in the playoffs.
We will see that at that point. Like, let's just to say this. If Josh Allen wins the MVP and the Bills do not go on, or even if they win this game and then lose the next game, it's still kind of a celebration for Josh. He's got won his team, whatever they did.
Yes.
But it's still the pressure of the playoffs. But to be a 3-time MVP at whatever point, well, notice this. Now, he could be a 3-time MVP playing in the Super Bowl.
Correct.
Yes.
So you don't know. I think, I think we believe he is going to win based on what we've seen, the way the voting has gone for other awards, that he's going to win. Whether he does or he doesn't, we won't find out until then. But you are right, Dan. And I think it's a little weighted on the quarterbacks, like we said, to say they have lost the games because of Lamar. I think the difference is when you are Lamar Jackson, you've got to be at least good, if not great. That's been the difference. It's not like he was, throwing, I mean, he had some issues, but I'm saying is he didn't like fall apart in those games. He just wasn't great.
The Titans game, he was really bad. When they were the number 1 seed.
Yes.
They had the bye and they got blown out at home by the Titans.
Yes. He also beat the Titans in Nashville in the playoffs when he was a younger player, and he won last year. I know it was the first round. He won in the game against the Texans to get there. A good example is the AFC Championship game. He had a couple of nice plays, then he made a mistake, and then they just did nothing. You are right about Allen. You could say of Josh, the Bengals game, nobody was good. in that one. That was a team thing, and he was not great. And he didn't play great in the AFC Championship game.
Right.
They were a little above their skis at that point. But otherwise, he has had incredible performances in the playoffs. And I'll say it because I say it all the time. The most impressive performance for a losing quarterback I have ever seen in the playoffs was in Kansas City. Not just the stats. It was the plays he made in the setting that he made them was unreal. Gave him the lead, gave him the lead, gave him the lead. And that leads us to
Sean
McDermott.
And the pressure, Dan, that he has on him.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in this entire game has more pressure than Sean McDermott, especially because it's a defensive-minded head coach that is going up against the 2-time, 3-time MVP and against a team that pretty much punched them in the face and then kicked them and then punched them again back in week 4. So it's the fact of what adjustments can you make in this spot? And yes, it still is Bobby Babbitt's defense, and I think the adjustments will be there. The reason I have more confidence in Sean McDermott, in which I seemingly have always had on this channel, I end up becoming the Sean McDermott apologist, but I think his willingness, and Mike Giardi talks about it a few weeks ago, we've mentioned it again, his willingness to adjust as a head coach. This is not the defense that was led by safeties that he plays the zone defense and that's it. And we're going to play zone. And if a team beats us, that's fine, but we're going to do it. He has adapted. He's adjusted. I think we'll see more Dorian Williams in this game. I think they will go 3 linebackers because they have healthier linebackers. And because of the fact of they know what Baltimore is going to do. I don't think this is any secret. Baltimore's not going to differ, away from what has gotten them here.
Right.
They did that last year in the playoffs. They ran the ball 4 times in the AFC Championship game and lost. They're going to try and run the ball down your throat. This is going to be one of those physical, as Daquan Jones says, a man whooping another man game.
And a nasty mindset.
Nasty mindset.
That is what Daquan Jones says you had to have coming into this week. But also, I think, too, which is very important for this Bills team, is the health of this team.
Yeah.
Taron Johnson did not play in that week 4 matchup. Matt Milano did not play in that week 4 matchup, and neither did Terrell Bernard. And those are some heavy hitters on this Bills defense.
Terrell Bernard is so important, and he did not play, and Matt Milano was not playing when they lost to the Chiefs last year. But this falls on the head coach. And they tried to play a game last year in the playoffs shorthanded to do what they can to try to keep Mahomes off the field and play that way, and they fell short. It was a pretty good effort, but you're not going to get a pretty good effort and get credit for that in the NFL.
Yeah.
They need to win. And the other part about it is, let's see how this game progresses for Sean, because there is going to be, this is not blowing out the Broncos here. There is going to be a moment in this game. And if I'm Sean McDermott going up against Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson and the stakes in this game, I am aggressive the entire game. And that doesn't mean reckless, but when it's close, I'm putting myself on the side of saying I am going to be more aggressive. I'm going to live and die with 17 as best I can. Not put him in a bad spot, but give him every opportunity because he's the best player on the field. Then you can live with that. Then you can. You'll get criticized anyhow because you always get criticized for the result. But Tyler Bass is not a guy to count on. You hope he's fine, but you count on Josh Allen to make those plays.
Where do you think the nerves are at for the team, like for McDermott and all that? Because
lower than you think.
Well, we've talked about all year long. Sean has been at peace. He has been lighter. I think the players have talked about it. We've noticed it. Now that doesn't,
because he's adjusted. He's adapted. He's changed. I think you do have to come in and set your standards and set your culture and what your philosophy is and what the type of team and integrity that you're going to be. But then if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to bash your head to the wall.
It's Mike Tomlin. Now, he doesn't have the quarterback, so it's
Tomlin catching ricochets on
No,
Buffalo
but the
Plus.
reason I bring that up is he is I see people say he's a bad, terrible coach and he's this and the other. I think he has found a level that he can have success. You need the quarterback to make it better. I just don't believe that man has adjusted enough in this league without it. And he's still a very good coach, but you can be very good, and if you don't adjust, you fall behind. And that's what happens
Andy Reid
in
for
this
10
game.
years.
Yeah, Andy Reid was always ahead of the game, though. He always coached ahead of the game. At the end of his time, it just was too
Stale.
long, and he got stale at the end.
Yeah.
But
And
he's always been an innovative guy.
But he had late game mistakes.
Oh, that part.
Like,
oh, no. You know what made him a better clock manager? Patrick Mahomes making plays.
That helps.
Yeah.
Donovan McNabb was a very good player, not Patrick Mahomes. And Mahomes bails him out of all kinds of circumstances. Andy is still not great at those moments, but isn't it nice when you make a mistake and the quarterback just takes care of it for you?
Jenna, where do you think the pressure is then on this team? Because we're more around the team, see it more, feel it more.
Yeah.
In the building.
Yeah.
I would say there's quiet confidence. That would be my general impression after being in the building for Wednesday of this week. But I don't think that there's an arrogance that comes with it. I think it's just the fact of they know that they are a team that they just feel more cohesive than they have in years past. And we've talked about it a lot on this channel, the freshness and all that stuff. But I do feel like there is a levity there. And with that, the process-oriented group, it's like, hey, we heard them talk earlier in the season that like they focus on what they can do, and it almost takes a little bit of the pressure off of like, I prepared as well as I can. This is already going to happen. It almost is like it's already written, and you're at home and you got Josh Allen. So I just think there is a lot of confidence that comes with that situation. And also I think that this team is incredibly motivated by the fact that so many people have doubted them.
Yeah.
None of them were named all pro. They obviously lost earlier in the season, got beat up by the Ravens on the road. I think they take it personally, the fact that, Josh isn't unanimously thought of as the MVP. And I know sometimes it's funny, it's this cesspool of Twitter, but people will be like, if they need that as motivation, then they don't have their head in the game. And it's like, well, that's a really dumb thing to say because motivation isn't all or nothing. And any little extra bit of motivation helps. And so I think you already have a team that has been feeling those ways going into this game. And then just the fact of the matter of it being the divisional round. I think there is some weight that comes with it and there is some nerves, but at the same point, quiet confidence are the two words that come to mind for this group.
I have only seen the Bills look, and you guys were with me for all these games. I've only seen them look, I won't even say not prepared, just not mentally right for that Bengals week.
Yep.
The only one. Because the Texans game, they were young and dumb, and Josh was sugar high, and they had the lead at half, and it all fell apart. But when you look back on it, you say, whatever. We can say we won about 13 seconds. They went toe-to-toe with a team at the prime of their greatness.
And they did against the Chiefs last year.
Should have won that game.
Yeah.
And last year, again, you can't make excuses. They did have some reasons why they were struggling in that game, but they played tough. They hung in there. They lost a tough game. If they had been to the championship the year before or had been to a Super Bowl, it wouldn't hurt as much. But in this case, it hurt because they were so close and had them at home. But I'm with Jenna. They do sort of roll that way. And being at home now and being healthy and confident, I think is a huge thing for them.
Jenna, we were there for locker cleanout last year, and there was like shock. Like, I can't believe we lost.
Correct.
I can't believe MVS caught those passes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
That's when you became an MVS.
Yeah.
Maybe that was when it was.
Yeah.
But again, after the Bengals, it was exhaustion. It was nothing left in the tank. They felt like they had more left in the tank last year.
Absolutely.
I was kind of laughing when you said the cesspool that is social media and thinking about all of the Ravens people that are probably going to watch, that are obviously in the chat now, and we'll clip all this. I expect us to be over under on like 2.5 hype up videos for the Ravens this week.
If you want to hear, I'll clip something for you, Ravens fans. We think Lamar is a tremendous player. Derrick Henry is a beast, and these teams are evenly matched.
Nope. That doesn't do it.
Oh, really? Should I lie?
Yeah.
Say Lamar stinks.
Yeah, there it is.
Henry's a fraud.
There it is.
Harbaugh's a lousy
They're probably going to
coach.
clip that part.
Yeah, clip that part.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Matt
You know
Milano
what?
was running his mouth.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable the way that he directed all of the media to come over, and he's like, I got something to say.
Yeah, because he's on. Man, if he was on this channel, he'd be interrupting you, Milano, every second.
You guys, wait, hang on. Breaking news. He's been on all the podcasts. He has been sitting next to me over here.
Yeah, there he is.
He's just been so quiet.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's it does crack me up that it was Milano because he said about 7 words He's a quiet guy, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just ironic that that's the player.
Somebody had a comment, and I saw,
choose.
I think it was Catherine Fitzgerald.
It was really good at the Buffalo News,
silence takes
a
moment of Milano.
Yeah.
Jeremy White from WGR has been phenomenal with all of them. He doesn't yell 4 on a golf course. He just holds up 4 fingers. Milano does something about the library. It's all been great.
Yeah, no, it is really good.
But listen, I could tell you this: if the Chiefs were to beat the Bills in this game, and they are the Ravens, and they play the Chiefs, I want the Ravens to win.
Yeah,
like I think most Bills fans. No. If it's against the Chiefs, I just can't. No. I think somebody needs to beat them. And if I was a Ravens fan, I think I would want the Bills to beat the Chiefs too. I just think that they are oh, wait a minute. I'm going to be Dan here.
I don't know.
Come on.
The enemy of your enemy is your friend.
I've not heard that one, but that tracks.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think it is.
That's a good one.
Who's the one that Bill Belichick follows?
Sun Tzu?
Art of War.
It might be from the Art of War. I may be really going all Dan here on this one.
Word soup, word salad.
Do you want to say the Greek
mythology
of the Bills?
It's not the river, right? When you were covering the team in the 90s, they had one more river to cross.
That was a Marv saying to them when we were in Tampa, and then they laughed because I did a cheesy TV news story about trying to find the river. I'm driving. Oh, maybe we'll show that at some point. I'm driving a convertible. Yeah,
we gotta
look like I'm 14.
That's the teaser. If we make the Super Bowl, that story is going to run.
Todd H., the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Nailed it.
I was close.
You were pretty close.
Yeah.
Yes.
Way to go, Todd. Is that from Sun Tzu? I don't know.
I will
call Belichick. Text him.
But there was a calmness around. I mean, they were cliches left and right this week, but there was a calmness around the team. And the quote that Terrell Bernard said to the team this week was by a Greek philosopher.
Yes. Oh, don't even try.
Don't even try. Don't even try.
No, because you could say it really bad.
Heraclitus.
Okay.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he is not the same man. Pretty much saying, we asked a bunch of players and some of them said they were a different team.
No, I'm laughing at you.
Elliot says, what? Jenna has never heard of that? She must think Mike is a genius.
Nope. I'll tell you that.
Elliot said, def a SpongeBob quote. No, I guess it was an Austrian psychologist, Fritz Heider.
Oh, Fritz. Yeah. He used to play quarterback for the Bills. Oh, no, that's
Fitz.
He likes, comments, and subscribes, though.
Okay, you were talking about your Greek philosopher.
Yeah, there was a sense of calmness around the team in the sense of we're not the same team was kind of the common theme.
Yeah.
And then Spencer Brown made a point, was like, no, we're the same team. We just had a bad game. Like, and I think there's both sides of that. Like, there's no getting around the fact of there's 7 starters that the Bills have now that were not playing in that week 4 game. And that was just an absolute blowout. And they talked about Josh went up to the podium right after that game. It was Sunday night. And just the fact of, I'm glad this game happened now and that we're going to learn from it. And we asked the team, kind of quoting Josh and saying, well, what have you guys learned? And it was a lot of, we've all learned this. We've learned a lot of lessons. We've learned a lot. Michael, can you share with the class?
Daniel thinks you were trying to say periodontist.
What?
When you said the name of the...
oh, no.
Heraclitus?
Yeah. It's periodontist. I don't think that's what you were trying to say.
Nope.
Was it? No.
Got a kick out of that.
I did. People are just cracking me up tonight.
Is this what it's like to be a teacher and like there's like kid that's just like laughing in the back of the class by himself?
Ryan says, let's go on a revenge tour. Beat the Ravens, Houston, and the Rams for the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's interesting. Wouldn't that be something?
Because that's the 3 losses, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. They have to beat the Patriots. Well, I guess they already beat them earlier. So
yeah, that one does not count. All right. We should respect the Ravens, though, because they are very good.
They are.
We know that, I mean, Lamar is fantastic. Derrick Henry is a problem. And that was really who opened up the game.
Are we still talking about week 4?
Well, I just mean in general.
Yeah. I wanted to throw shade at them.
Why?
Because I think all their talk about their defense is a little inflated. I think there needs to be some context to the Ravens' defensive numbers. Obviously, they made changes since week 4. Like we talked about, the Bills are not the same team since week 4. The Ravens aren't either. Kyle Hamilton now back at his all-pro position of more playing a free safety instead of a nickel and kind of being that box safety, and he is unbelievable. Mike wanted to draft him. If we had Bean on the patio earlier, maybe Kyle Hamilton is in Buffalo. But
I can only do my part.
Yeah. The Ravens have been the number 1 defense in pretty much every category since week 11, since Kyle Hamilton switched back. And everybody has been pointing about, how great the Ravens defense has been. And they are good. I'm not trying to sit here and say they're not. I think it's a little inflated, and there needs to be some context provided into their last 8 games when 3 of them were against Russell Wilson and the Steelers. They also played the Giants, the Browns, and Texans,
yeah.
who all by weighted DVOA, because this week, Mike and I crunched film.
We did
analytics.
Yeah.
I now know more about weighted DVOA than I ever thought I would know. And the Steelers have the 20th best offensive weighted DVOA. So they haven't played in their last 8 games that everybody's been ranting and raving about how good their defense has been. And they have been good. But they played the Browns, the Texans, the Giants, and the Steelers 6 out of those 8 games. And the other 2 were the Chargers and the Eagles. The best offense they have faced in the last half of the season of weighted DVOA offensively is 13th, which is the Chargers. They haven't played a top 10 offense since they faced the Bengals. And they gave up 1 billion points to the Bengals in that wild Thursday night game.
Right.
So they are good. This can get clipped by Ravens fans. That's fine. There just needs to be some context. And I'm also not saying that the Bills have played a murderer's row either of a gauntlet down the stretch either. You play who's on your schedule, all of those things. But there needs to be some context into how good the Ravens defense has been and how pathetic the opposing offenses have been also.
The Steelers set offense back for a playoff team. They just do. They set it
for
back.
The sport.
Bailey Zappi played for Cleveland, I believe, in that game. And
DeVito and Drew Lock.
It doesn't even matter who plays for the Giants. I mean, you're talking about the worst teams in the league. And now, listen, the Texans and the Steelers are playoff teams, but we see what they are. They are not offensive teams. And, the Texans could be, but they've got guys out of the lineup too. So I'm with you on that. That doesn't mean they're not improved. That doesn't mean it isn't smart to get Kyle Hamilton back where he belongs.
Really good player. Yeah.
And they are. But they also thrive on being at home. They are an incredible team at home, especially night games at home.
I picked them back in week 4. It was a bad matchup.
Yep. This is a different challenge to come to Orchard Park.
Why is it a better matchup now?
Because of the health, because of the players that are on the field, and because it's in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I picked the Ravens back in week 4, even though the Bills were undefeated. I said, this is just a bad matchup. And I cringed when I said it, but I go, the Ravens don't lose night games at home in primetime spots. They just don't do it. This is a different beast.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I just wanted to hear your reasoning now of what makes things so different. I mean, my concern, obviously Lamar is fantastic, but it's also Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
And he is really good. He's a monster back there, and he's the type of player that can wear on you, especially the weather. Does the weather concern you at all? So not a lot of snow expected, but it's going to be cold, about 16 degrees. I see it's at kickoff.
And then 0. It goes lower.
Yeah.
It doesn't concern me for the Bills unless it would be whatever. But Josh Allen has played in all of this.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens haven't really played in terrible weather. It's kind of odd being in that division, just the way it's worked out, who you're playing late. I mean, there hasn't been, they haven't had a game at Cincinnati, say, in playing. So I think Lamar was 22 degrees and Derrick Henry was like 28 degrees. When it gets down as single digits, you guys know on the field, it is brutal down there.
Yeah.
So I think that, honestly, in somewhat, it can be a little shock to the system. It is a little different for guys.
It's a mindset.
They haven't done right. It helps in a mindset when you've done it multiple times.
Correct.
And
the Bills embrace it. Nobody likes it. The Bills aren't saying, I mean, Spencer Brown said that he wished it would be negative degrees as well as 40 mile an hour winds.
I don't think he really likes that, does he?
He's crazy.
Yeah. Maybe it is because of how it impacts other players too.
Yeah.
But listen, Derrick Henry, imagine trying to tackle him on a sunny day on a grass field.
Oh.
That turf is going to be hard as a rock, and
it's a problem.
We have a poster up here that I'm pointing that is
that right
looks
over
like
there.
Derrick Henry.
It's the Fox robot. It's Cletus.
Yeah. It's he looks like that. He doesn't. He looks like a defensive end or bigger.
Yeah, when they're pregame warmups, it looks like he's with the wrong group.
Yeah,
you're like, why is that defensive end?
And
taking
on a
handoffs?
team, and when you look at Derrick Henry, look at Saquon Barkley, both immensely talented that have put up numbers in their career, but in a better setting, their talent just explodes.
Yeah,
and the way they run the ball with the RPO, with the the run option is so difficult because Josh is a great runner, but Josh runs in a very different way than Lamar.
Absolutely.
Josh runs, he's running down the field, is going sideways.
Was it you that said Josh runs for first downs, Lamar runs for touchdowns? Or was it you?
Yeah.
That was me. That sounds really smart. That sounds like me.
Yes. I would say that is the case. I would say Josh, because I would say like Mahomes runs for first downs. Those guys. Josh can take it to the house.
Correct.
Lamar looks to do that every time he's got the ball.
Yes.
Because he has that incredible speed. You are right. Josh looks for those spots and then takes them, then sometimes takes a little bit more. And then like we saw in the Kansas City game, takes it to the house. But Lamar, his speed is unreal. But to have Derrick Henry next to you and to be able to, in some cases, when he's playing for the Titans, they're going to give it to Derrick Henry and everybody knows it. And he's got to run through that. It's hard. It is hard. Terrell Bernard talked about that, like dealing with that, where you're trying to figure out who's got the ball and being able to make a play is tough.
Yeah. Who are the guys that you look for Buffalo that you think will be key guys or guys you're expecting that need to step up in this game in particular?
I mean, I think it's the linebackers. I think they have to be so good in this game. I think it is the idea of them because both of them can make, I mean, think about what's expected of a linebacker, right? The D line for a lot of the point tries to control the line of scrimmage and free up those linebackers to make plays. Derrick Henry has top end speed, takes him a little while to get there, relatively speaking. Lamar Jackson in 2 steps is elite speed.
Yeah.
And he can get around any corner,
explosive,
all
dynamic,
those things.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes it tough. I think it's less on the safeties than it is with other teams in this game because so much more to me is in the front 7 because you cannot allow them to get there.
Well, yeah. I mean, you'd like your safety to be able to have the saving tackle, but if they've already got through 9 guys, you're screwed.
Monday night game, Nashville. Derrick Henry comes through. Poor Jordan Poyer. Poyer is trying to make the play, and that monster is just running him over, going to the end zone. Well, the Josh Norman one.
Is.
Who do you think needs to step up?
I was thinking more offensively. I was kind of like on the other side of the ball. I think I expect to see another level from Khalil Shakir just because of what he's been able to do this season. But I do think that Amari Cooper, this is the time and the place.
Stealing my guy.
Yeah. Well, you kind of set me up, but yeah, you did ask. But I do think that Amari Cooper has now had the regular season that he probably wanted or the Bills wanted.
You've been disappointed by him.
I have, because I think the injury and that was impactful. And then when he has been out on the field, you just don't really see the fluidity between him and Josh that you would have liked at this point in the year. But that being said, I think I look to Curtis Samuel and what Curtis Samuel was able to do last week against the Broncos. Curtis Samuel probably did not have, I know Curtis Samuel did not have the regular season he wanted to, but in a big moment in the playoffs, he was able to make some really big, impactful plays. And that is what I want to see out of Amari Cooper. And I think it's the playoffs. All is not, I don't want to say all is forgiven, but all is forgiven if you're willing to show up in the big moments.
I was just giggling to myself.
Yes, that's what I was doing earlier.
Because when you said there was a player that...
MVS, yeah. Oh. What were you going to say?
Where did MVS come from?
No, I'm saying he made big plays.
Oh, I was saying the fact
for the Chiefs.
When you just said if you would have taken out Curtis Samuel's name and you would rewind it back 2 years, you would sit there and say this player didn't have the regular season he wanted to, but stepped up in big
Gabe
moments.
Davis.
There we go.
Yeah.
I sit there and he's been banged up. He has. Curtis Samuel's been on the injury report in and out the entire season, so that has been a part of it. For me, I'm with Jenna. We've kind of been talking about this like back in the sports office. Is that it's the entire wide receivers. It's all the pass catchers. It's Dalton Kincaid. It's Dawson Knox. It's all those guys, because I see this game as so often you go into games saying you can't turn the ball over, right? And that's true in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But I look this as a game of you have to make big plays. Like, I don't see this as a game of, hey, last week they controlled the clock for 40-something minutes. I don't think that's the way to attack this Ravens team and to try and keep Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson off the field. I think you have to have blinders on and realize the winner of this game is in the 30-point range. However you get there, I don't care. And this is a spot where it's like, you always look of, hey, don't make mistakes. I look at this spot as be aggressive, not reckless, Mike, but to say, we got to take shots. Our wide receivers have to win. 12-yard passes are okay, but you're going to need to hit a couple 25-yarders. It's like the Rams game. It's like the Lions game. And this game, I think whoever forces one or two more punts is going to be the winner of this game.
Yeah.
And I defended the Bills defense in that Lions game, and everybody's like, well, they gave up 40 points. Well, they got 2 stops early, and they've got 3-and-out touchdown, 3-and-out touchdown, and then all of a sudden you're putting pressure back on the other team. I'm not saying the Bills can't come back and win games, because they've shown the ability to fall behind early and come back. But this is going to be a game where I think you need to have some big chunk plays to keep pace in what we're expecting a track meet.
When I think of making big plays too, it's sort of like the joke about the MVS, but he did. It was like last week, you look at that game and you say, Ty Johnson. It doesn't have to be big numbers and big stats. That was a hell of a play to make that catch in a 13-7 game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, take that to a game like Sunday, right, where you're in that circumstance. Now, the Bills ended up blowing out Denver, so it didn't matter. That's why I'm saying is, when I say it didn't matter, yes, it was a big play. Because if you think about it, if they don't make that play,
13-6,
13-7, and they lose the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that's against the Ravens and it's a 6-point game in the third quarter, like you think about those moments, that's when I say is I don't expect, when you say, I don't expect Amari Cooper's got to come out with 9 catches for 160 yards.
I
want to see him make
5
2 big
for
plays.
70.
But I want to see 2 big plays, like make 2.
Yeah.
Make 2 to help make Josh's life easier.
Help me.
Help you.
No, you're right. It's not about the stats at this point. It's about making plays. What can you do to make plays?
Like, I look at it as more of the positive plays that you can make and impact the game more than, hey, if you make an aggressive play, you take a shot down the field, it's picked off, I can live with that. Like, I'm with you, Mike, where you cannot be the Steelers and be like, well, we'll punt and play field position. I think it's points on every drive. Josh Allen says, like, our goal is to try and score at every drive. It's not always possible. But I like that mindset more than ever in this game, because I really think every point at every possession is going to be massive.
Did he say it's not possible? Because he actually did it in a game.
He's done it twice. The Lions game, too. I think they scored on every single possession. It was the Patriots playoff game. They were perfect.
Yes.
That was 7 drives, 7 touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's a special place right there.
The only negative play from that Lions game is when Josh kneeled it.
Yeah. Shouldn't have done it. Should have made Mitch do it.
Matthew C brings up a good comment. Where has Keon been?
Oh, don't get Dan going. Make a play, Keon. Make a play.
Keon doesn't get open. It's kind of a problem. The PFF stats, and you can say whatever you want about PFF analytics, but nobody in the entire NFL gets less open than Keon Coleman. He's limited in his routes. At times, it's at this point too. It's also who do you trust? And in these moments, Keon hasn't been great. And also it's fighting for balls, the pass interference. Like the guy in the Denver game grabbed him, and Keon didn't go up hard enough to draw a flag. Matt Collins draws that flag.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of, they're not rookies anymore, but you're going with the guys that you trust. And I don't know if the trust is there. And also the plays that he the routes that he runs, the 50-50 balls and the high variance, like his keys are jump balls and back shoulder throws. Those are low percentage completions. So that's why when I've talked about it, like, hey, he had 10 targets and 2 catches in the game against New England. Like, that's a problem because a lot of his routes aren't in routes or 10-yard outs. Like, it's just not there.
I have my trust level of pass catchers for this team. I would say for Josh, Shakir.
Yes.
2, right now,
I know who you're going with.
I might say Dawson Knox. 3,
Matt
I
Collins.
might say Ty Johnson. He is an elite catcher of the football. He's made some.
Yeah.
He doesn't drop the ball.
Kincaid's up there too.
No.
Nope.
He trusts him.
Not there.
Yep.
And you know what? Then I would say Matt Collins.
I think Matt
has
Collins
made
should be
plays.
higher.
Well, I'm putting him right there. I'm saying when he throws it to Ty, the dude makes a play.
Yeah.
And
last week was the perfect example of that.
So you look at it, it's no, I think Kincaid has an opportunity to step up because this has been a disappointing year for him.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So step up now because this is when it matters.
I think people are wondering where Coleman is. Right now, his strengths are so limited. Do what he did in Seattle. Make a play. Take it to the end zone. Right? Well, the play would be in the red zone. Like that's where I can see him winning a jump ball. But again, his biggest plays this season, and we've talked about it, have been off broken, off-script plays. It is tough to draw up Josh running around for 8 seconds and then throwing it up to him. Like that's not necessarily a play that they call in the huddle.
In fairness, they talked about those kind of plays when they drafted him.
Absolutely. But you hope that he would emerge as slants, in routes, comebacks, and be able to get center.
So we'll worry about that for 25 season.
Yeah.
How about Sunday? Just make a catch.
All right. We're going to do our picks and our predictions. But first, I want to thank Tim Quattro. It's very Italian, Mike. Maybe you would have a better. It's a super
Get your glasses.
Let me get the glass. Let me see. Here
Quattro Chiachi. I'm really bad at pronouncing last names.
Let me take it.
I think that's right. I think it's right.
That's not. But super tip. We appreciate it. He said in every game between Allen and Jackson, the Ravens have won time of possession. I think one of the biggest keys to win that and keep it. The biggest keys to win is to keep it out of Jackson's hand.
I would say Quattro Chiachi.
Okay.
That's a nice tip. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah.
Good man.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we're wrong. But I was going to give that to Dan, but no way.
No.
Who's?
And then scumbag Brad with a super tip said, I'm so damn worried about injuries in this cold weather. They need to win and take care of themselves. We can't afford to go banged up to the next week. Already talking about next week.
No.
Let's get to next week.
Well, they've already done that because a year ago they had their injuries in the first round of the playoffs.
Yes.
And it hurt them immensely.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they got into the next week.
One more quick thing that Mike and I crunching tape.
Yep.
The old man.
Yep.
It was projector. Or is that what you're watching the tape on?
But do you know how
that's messed
up. Do you know how Jenna pointed at you? I'm going to point to you with another finger.
But Reggie Gilliam.
Yeah, so what I really noticed is, and Alec Anderson's been a little banged up this week.
Yeah.
You know, he is the guy, as you guys all know when you're watching the game or listening, number 70's eligible, the extra offensive lineman. So I started to look at snap counts for the year, and his have leveled off. It's not as many times where they go with the extra line. Doesn't mean they're not going to do that this week. I don't know what the plan is. But I kept seeing Reggie out there in this fullback role, and his stats have gone, in terms of snap counts, has gone way up, where he is that lead blocker for James Cook. And they use him in that way. And look, it helps. I think it depends on what they're doing offensively. Yep. Plus, the other thing I've seen them do more and more often, and I love it, and they have Dion pull all the way from the left side and come around and
Crunch and tape.
Hammer people going the other way.
Yeah.
So that is something to see how they approach this in terms of, it is fascinating when you look at all the different sets they use in any single drive. And by the way, the Reggie snaps, I was looking because I was trying to see if there was a pattern. Some were short yardage, Some were 1st and 10. Several were on the 1st and 10 runs. It's not like it's in that tush-push role because I don't think they really use it that way. So, we'll see what they do offensively in that way when they need, certainly to help the run game.
Yeah. We want to thank Elliot, too. Thank you, Buffalo Plus. Love the show. Go Bills. Thank you, Elliot. We appreciate that. All right, let's get into it.
Do you want to bat lead off for your pick?
Sure. I have the Bills winning this game. And to me, it comes down to simply who do I trust more in this moment? I trust Josh Allen. I trust Josh Allen being at home. I trust what he can do and what we have seen this team do throughout the season. I think them being home underdogs plays into that motivation we talked about earlier. I have the Bills winning this game 31-24 and the Bills moving on to the AFC Championship.
To face the Houston Texans. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah,
could happen.
Yeah, I'm with you. To me, I think that this Ravens defense is susceptible to high-powered offenses, and that's where I lean on this game too. I understand the Lamar struggles, but I just think that what Joe Brady has done and the different weapons and the everyone eats, which has at times had its players have maybe starved and this offense has struggled. They seem to be clicking at the right time. You saw Curtis Samuel get involved. I do think this is, for as much as I was skeptical about Dalton Kincaid's being the focal point of the passing offense, I think that there is some space over the middle of the field against the Ravens to have some success. The vibes just seem different. There is this lightness. I think revenge is a huge factor in this spot. I take the Bills. I think they force just one more punt than the Ravens, 31-27 in this game.
Yeah, I'm with Jenna when she said, I trust Josh Allen in this spot. And it's funny, I was thinking about the earlier games, and I thought about when they play, the first round games. They're playing against Denver. Nice team, trying to build. But I thought if the Bills play well at all, they win that game. I just did not believe that was the case. Mm-hmm. There is a difference between playing the Chiefs and playing the Ravens or any other team. The Chiefs, you feel like, and I do believe there has been, a couple of these games, even last year, even with everything that went on, they did not play a terrible game. They just could not get Mahomes off the field. And I think it's just different against Kansas City in that way. I think Lamar is really good, but I don't see him that way. I don't see him in those spots. Doesn't mean he can't play great, but I think it's different when you say the Bills take a 6-point lead with 43 seconds to go. Mm-hmm. Lamar is a very spectacular player, but that is not Mahomes on the other side. I just think that's where it's different on the road in this case. I think it's close. I think it's a lot of points because I think it's going to be tough to stop these teams. I got a 30-27 Bills.
Tom Slade saying Bills by a badillion.
Yes.
Shout out you, Tom. That's great. Okay. All right. We're going to do credit to me real quick. There's like a Ravens fan in the chat.
Oh, what are they saying?
I just think that's so cringy to do that.
But they're entitled to be in there.
You're entitled to do whatever you want.
Well, actually,
I just think it's incredibly cringy.
But see, this is where I think we, credit to us before we get into it, do a good job of separating it. Like, fans are short for fanatics.
Yeah.
They are irrational. Like, yes. I understand that. Fandom and all of those things play into it. So I'm not saying I respect it, but thanks for the views. Feel free to drop a tip at a super chat.
Is this who we're talking about?
No.
Oh, well, there was a bunch of purple hearts there.
But yeah. That's, I think it's cringy. You can be a fan. I totally get it. But like,
go off, Queen.
Searching out the other team content is kind of wild to me.
Is this LJ says, imagine being so insecure that you lurk on the other team's podcast to make negative comments. See, I didn't see any of the comments. I didn't know what the person said.
No, and like you can, if you and someone's saying if maybe they want insight on the opponent, that's totally fine. But you don't have to comment.
Insight.
It's pretty interesting. No,
it's
I just
Chris Broussard.
No, I think it's pretty interesting. I think it says a lot about the person.
Yeah,
in my opinion. Okay, let's do our credit.
It's Nick Wright. Oh, there's all kinds of good ones in here.
Why don't you bet lead off, Jenna? Because you've been working on a credit to me since Mike called you out on
Mike
Wednesday.
Said I need to be better at it. You literally said in the car, I need to be better at it.
Well, because you said to us at our live podcast, Dan and I talked about covering the team and family and all, and you talked about liver and onions.
I thought it was a great credit to her.
It was, but you said, "Oh, I said liver. I did about that," and I thought it was.
I know. Well,
I got your back.
Okay, thank you. All right. So, credit to me. I have the cleanest house on the block because
neighbors catching shade.
Getting married this year, had the wedding shower. It was great. My cousin bought me this nice vacuum. Finally came in earlier this week. Great vacuum. It's got cordless, swivels,
and the Ravens fans have left the chat.
Yeah, I can put you guys to sleep. Don't worry. It has a light on the end of the vacuum, so you see every speck of dust, dirt, and hair. And I cannot stop cleaning my house because it haunts me at night. I cannot sleep. I've vacuumed the house every single day.
Do you have a deal with this company? Are you getting a?
No, I didn't even say that.
With like a headlamp.
Oh, that would be so funny.
I'm like, it's going to be Disney on ice in this bitch.
Oh, it's so good.
No, I can't. If you have a vacuum like this, you know exactly what I am talking about. Everything you can see.
Oh, that I believe because, well,
you got dogs.
The dog, Winnie's great dog. She's a black lab. Oh my God. Seriously. There's hair everywhere.
Well, Jenna, oh my gosh. Thank you to Rob Taylor. Love your channel. Go Bills. We got this. $99.
Oh,
whoa. Rob Taylor. Wow. Thank you.
Maybe get a hat for Rob.
There we go. Yes.
What vacuum? It's a Ryobi.
It's like a power tool.
I know.
Hey, Rob, shoot us an email because we can get you a hat.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, what's yours?
Mike, do you want to go?
Yeah, mine is fine. Listen,
mine is fine.
Mine's fine.
Inside jokes on the pod.
You interrupted me, you too. And I just, let me say the first line before you, and then Dan will comment or Jenna will comment and say this. Only thing I was going to say, credit to me, and it's not specifically for this. I decided to do dry January, taking off the month from drinking. It's not about that. I don't drink that much, but it was a nice little break. And then I thought about end of the month and all the stuff was going on. And then I thought, I know how I want to celebrate. Little toast. And it's when we're in Kansas City, after the Bills win to go to the Super Bowl, we are going to have nice little bourbon to sit there and celebrate the Bills going to New Orleans.
Did you ever open the bottle we got you for the whole thing?
No, because that is for all of us to celebrate.
Really?
Yes.
You haven't opened it yet?
Nope. We're gonna have a little party at the house, and we're gonna go open that up. But I was thinking, listen, we've been super busy, and it's been actually great.
I have not done dry January.
Well, you got 3 little kids.
That is correct.
You need it. But I was just thinking, it's January, and then and then I was like, oh yeah, there we go.
Perfect.
In KC, post game.
That's cool.
There we go.
Also, Tim Quattro Chokey. We were close.
Oh, okay.
Thank you to him. And then JTL. Nobody can do it like Buffalo Plus.
Oh, appreciate that.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
My credit to me, it usually seems to be parent related. Anybody out there that has young kids right now, it is a rough time. It is a rough time. Kids are coming home sick. One of my oldest had pink eye. My other kid just had an allergic reaction to something in the bathtub. And we spent 8 hours in the hospital last Saturday because our newborn had 101 fever. So shout out to all the parents out there. I do want to give also a credit to me.
Oh, we gotta vet this through Renee.
No. I think I'm good at this internet stuff. Like this content game. You always joke around that my brain is 90% content.
Oh, yeah.
I said on this channel that Josh won't use the letters M, V, or P in the Wednesday media press conference. And he didn't. And Josh is as dialed in. If you want to talk about motivation, to your point, Jenna, about, if you need extra motivation. Earlier this year, Josh went up to the podium before they played Baltimore and he called Lamar a 2-time MVP and all of these things. He didn't sniff the words or the letters M, V, or P. Credit to me. I called that out 100% that he wouldn't give Lamar any more flowers than he deserves or say that he should win the MVP. Josh has stayed so far away from the entire conversation. So I live on the internet too much, but I also think Josh Allen knows plenty of what's going on. So credit to me. I was right. Flip your mugs that way. And Mike's giving me a side eye.
Well, yeah, that was great. I mean, that was no, but I'm saying is that Josh
He's going to
didn't
tell you
say,
in the car next week.
no, that Josh didn't say MVP. That was good. It was a nice prediction on your part.
Chudley716, did he say MVS?
That's good.
That is very good. That was really good.
I'm going to say this one now because I talked about it all beginning of the year. We were talking about the Chiefs. And I said, the Chiefs are not going to win the Super Bowl this year, and they are going to lose before they get to the championship game. I'm down to one game.
Yeah.
So if it happens, I'm going to just brag about it. If it doesn't, I'm just going to forget that I said that.
Joe says, thank you for the super tip. He says, like, Dan drinks anything stronger than Shirley Temples. No, I drink Shirley Temples.
We got Mike a nice bottle of Bland's.
Yes,
yeah.
we are ready. That'll be time for a celebration.
And for my drinks, usually we go out to a bar and Renee will ask for something because of that, and the bartender or something come over, ask for an old fashioned or something like that, or I'll say, I'm also one of those guys that says, make me whatever you want, like make me something with bourbon, and they'll be like, oh, do you want it sweet? And I go, I want my booze to taste like booze. Like I want strong bourbon, I want strong stuff.
Bartender,
oh my gosh.
Just tell me what you want.
Yeah, I was
pal.
like, all right, I'd be like, all right, here's just neat bourbon.
Yep.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I got. Speaking of which, I got called out by one of my buddies. We were all drinking bourbon, and he was giving us a hard time because we were drinking at Rocks.
Nope, we don't do that. We don't discriminate against and judge. If you want to have a little, I always have a small cube.
Yeah.
Small cube in my bourbon.
Yeah.
I like a martini with the rocks ice.
Really?
Straight? No, I have it straight up, but then you get the rocks ice on the side.
And then do you put it in?
Yeah. That's good.
I like a
straight
gin,
up martini though.
I like a gin martini.
I like a
Okay, now I'm making it
extra
tough.
dirty
This dry
vodka.
January shit's gonna end.
What was the one in Providence? Extra dirty dry martini, straight up with peppercini.
Yeah, that's what
juice
you
in it.
ordered, and I had
So
water.
good.
That sounds like my coffee order.
Yeah, Dan makes the coffee order of a 13-year-old girl.
Can I have a frappuccino?
Yeah.
That's not
Upside down caramel macchiato with extra sauce.
And
Or
you like
Dan
it?
whipped cream.
And
I
you-
like it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's delicious. Yeah.
I used to have my wife make all the Starbucks orders because I was too afraid.
Well, it is a little intimidating.
Yeah, mine is just black coffee.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's true. Okay. All right. Thank you so much to everyone watching. We'll have our post-game coverage up on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel
On Monday.
on Monday. Yes.
Yes,
It'll be
first thing Monday.
7 a.m.
Also, we will be doing 5 players to watch. If you want to check for that on Saturday.
Yeah.
When you're watching the Chiefs lose, you can
Yes.
get ready for the game on Sunday.
And just one more thing behind the scenes. Usually we keep this live video up until about midnight. I take it down and then I upload this same exact form as the podcast because it also goes out wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to just listen in the car and not watch the video, that's just the way the sausage is made.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Thank you so much. For Mike Catalana and Dan Fates, I am Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We always appreciate it. We'll catch you next time here on the Buffalo Plus channel presented by Connors and Ferris.